Universal Studios Hollywood is introducing the California Neighbor Pass. For the neighborly price of just $119 online, you get over 200 days in the park. So swing by and share some laughs with your neighbors, like the Minions. Or Homer Simpson.
Go nuts.
Even go on an adventure with Harry Potter.
Stay close and follow me.
Visit UniversalStudiosHollywood.com to get over 200 days of thrills, laughter, and wonder with the new California Neighbor Pass for $119 online. Pass valid for 9 months from selected first visit date. Blackout dates and restrictions apply.
Blog Talk Radio.
It's Tia.
Hello?
Have you checked the children?
They're all hot dogs.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
I'm afraid.
Don't be afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Gingy.
Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. Gentlemen, I am pain.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Have you checked the children?
Have you checked the children?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
I think he's in trouble.
Julie, this guy, if he can't take a joke, he stinks.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
Look, just a flesh wound.
Hello, Flesh Wound Radio freaks, and welcome to a brand new episode of Horror Society Presents Flesh Wound Radio. I am Daniel Shine, and I am joined, as always, by Todd Loya. Todd, how goes the day?
A busy day here, but good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I know you're busy with wrestling business, and it's kind of been a interesting few days for the pro wrestling world. I was going to say I'm doing better than Dixie Carter is right now, I would say.
Yeah. Well, that came out as a complete rumor, and I could tell you the origins of that later, or maybe at the end we'll talk about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe at the end we can talk about that, because I was wondering, a couple sites haven't jumped on it yet, which, you know, I was kind of like, I don't know, maybe not, but nonetheless, well, that can be our end of the show rant, but
there we go.
but yeah, we'll rant about that at the end of the show, but yeah, no, it's been a pretty good week here. I'm getting ready to go on a trip to go to a comic store, actually, this weekend. It has some pretty cool collectibles. It's weird driving a couple hours just to go to it, but that's what I'm going to be doing. So, but it's been a pretty cool week. Been playing cards and doing well, actually. I've been winning, so that's a good thing. More money to always a good thing, because we were talking before the show just how stacked the release date calendar is right now. May 26th and June 9th in particular. June 9th is brutal. The Blu-rays for Spider Baby, Society, Der Todesking, the several blaxploitation titles. I know we're both big Pam Grier fans. The Bonnie's Kids Centerfold Girl double feature Blu-ray. Troma's got a new one out with Extreme Jukebox. New Jess Franco, well, not new Jess Franco, but another Jess Franco Blu-ray with the sadistic Baron von Klaus. Dura Samurai, some new movie that's getting some buzz. It's a pretty brutal release day, so it's a good thing I'm winning, because I need to pay for this shit. But yeah, that's what's weird too. I'm like, God, they could have spaced that out, because there really isn't anything on June 2nd except for Scarecrows. the Blu-ray for William Wesley Scarecrows, I should say, and that's a big release, but that's really the only major thing out, I think, on the 2nd. So, yeah, June's pretty stacked.
And there wasn't really a lot this past week either. There wasn't a lot of really big titles this week. I mean, there was Poltergeist 3, which is its disc debut, and I think we got something else this week. I can't think of what it was.
I picked up several indie titles. Some were new and some are newish. Actually, one we're reviewing tonight. But I don't know. They haven't had anything big. Like I said, the 9th, unless I can check and see if anything got bumped.
I remember, and Stigmata.
Oh, yes. Did you get Stigmata? I didn't pick that one up yet.
I did, and I'm not a huge fan of the movie, but I wanted my Scream set our collection complete. And there's absolutely no new content on there.
Yeah. I figured. Patricia Arquette right now winning the Oscar.
Yeah.
Don't see her really coming back for a chat, but I remember that movie being decent. Really well acted. I'm not huge into the possession stuff, but it wasn't, all over the place back in, I think, 99 when that came out.
No,
so it was.
It's so 90s. You hear that music, I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to go back here. I have other memories associated with that movie I'd much rather forget, so I'm not a huge fan.
Bad date experience or something with it. I have one for Hostel, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, you told that one. I don't know if you told that one on the air or in private. I can't remember.
Yeah, I did actually before. Yeah, that was I got chewed out on that one. So I don't know. Stigmata shouldn't have been that bad. Although it still amazes me, and we've talked about this before. Just when it's like a religious kind of bent to a horror movie, just some of the reactions and just absolute terror. Granted, definitely not a horror fan or person in general, but actually at a recent Hold'em tournament I was playing in, they know I'm the horror guy and have a radio show and everything, and one lady was telling me how she refuses to watch Exorcist because she thinks if she watches it that she can become, and I'm not kidding, possessed by watching the movie. So it's the power that some of these films have. I don't know. They don't quite get me too much. And, hey, I went to Catholic school for a short time, so it's not, but I don't know. I understand it, I guess, a little bit more, even though it doesn't particularly get to me. But, yes, anyways, I guess we can get into some news bits that we have for you guys. Apparently, Walking Dead is going to have some competition because it's just been announced that George Romero's Empire of the Dead, which was a 15-issue graphic novel that was published by Marvel, and they've just announced at Cannes that they are going to be adapting this as a series. It will be written by Romero and longtime collaborator Peter Grunwald, and will be executive produced by Romero and Grunwald, with Damaris, Sam Engelbart, and William D. Johnson as well. This one, I'm only aware of it. I've never read it, but I know it mixes vampires and zombies. So it should be interesting. It's apparently going to come to us, I think, let's see. No, actually, they're talking about another thing from the company, so I don't think there's any release for this yet. But I don't know. What do you think, Todd? It's more and more zombie TV series. I don't know that how many we can have that'll be successful all at once. Although, I welcome them.
Yeah, I don't know, and I mean, other than us and the rest of the diehards, I don't think Romero's name carries much weight to the average viewer.
probably not as much as it used to, although I will say most people tend to at least know the name, which might get some more casual fans to tune in, I should say, and I don't know, and it's vampires and zombies, so it's also kind of got the competition from The Strain in particular, as well as a lot of those teeny vampire shows that are on television right now. So I don't know, we'll see, but I'm fairly excited to give it a chance. The whole vampire and zombies thing, I can't remember when this comic came out. I don't think it's terribly old, but several people have done the whole zombies and vampires together thing now, so it's not totally original. But no, we'll give it a fair shake and see how it turns out. We actually have to take note now of what shows are coming back, because I know The Strain and Hannibal, several others are coming. So actually after the show tonight, I think I'm going to have to mark down air dates so I don't miss anything. But yes, in other news, kind of a film that's very popular, well, at least in terms of box office, that never saw Blu-ray release is finally getting a Blu-ray release, and that is James Wan's Dead Silence, the creepy doll flick, which is finally getting an official Blu-ray release. See, I don't know if I have the date. August 11th, and I believe the pre-order for that is up. Kind of one of those films that came out right when Blu-ray was just, I believe, starting to become a thing.
Yes.
And it didn't get that release. Kind of like Turistas and Sliver. I'm still waiting for official U.S. releases for those on Blu-ray.
Well, I still own my HD DVD of Slither and Dead Silence.
I didn't know. Yeah, I was about to ask you. I don't remember seeing a Dead Silence foreign release on Blu-ray, although there certainly might have been.
No.
I don't.
That's pretty much every territory but us. And it's funny, with Slither, I actually bought that. That was one of my first Blu-ray, HD DVDs. I bought that before I even got my player, because it was they had those combos, flippers. So that was my only DVD for that one. Because I did get an HD.
Were you a fan of Dead Silence?
Not as much.
I never loved it.
I'm fine up until the ending, and the ending's just like, God, it's just saw by the numbers.
Mm-hmm. It's
like, let's go back and show you this, and this is what you missed and how it adds up. And it was just, it's just known in the Saw series too, but it's part of that franchise. So to do a separate movie and then just throw that in there, it just felt like we're doing the same thing we know how to do. So, and it's also one other thing interesting to note. It looks like Universal is putting out their own Halloween 3 disc the same day.
Yeah, I did notice that. I found that a little strange. I think I'm gonna stick with my Scream Factory release.
Yeah. Yeah.
You hardcore enough that you're gonna pick it up just because?
You know, it's funny. I love that movie, and I actually still have the Universal disc, of course, for 2, because it has Terror in the Aisles, and I still have all the Echo Bridge discs. Damn it, I guess I do have to pick it up. But have a really cool cover, or a really shitty cover I can laugh at. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to spend the money. Just too much stuff coming out. But I'll wait for it to hit the $5 Walmart bin. It's not a day one purchase.
Yeah, that's what I figure. That one will probably by the time October hits, I could see it going on sale pretty fast.
I'm just going to probably debut there. They know they're not putting that one out and setting the world on fire with sales. No. So, yeah, that'll be one of the ones that
kind of pops up right, up front. Although, I don't know, Walmart's been slacking lately. They haven't had, like, that big, at least most of them haven't had, like, that big stand, right, practically right as you come into the electronics section with a bunch of different ones. It's kind of been like the same old shit lately. For a while, it seemed like you get some occasionally unusual stuff. I actually saw Redneck Zombies for sale in Walmart a couple years ago.
Wow.
Which was really, really bizarre and random. I don't know, maybe it's West Virginia. They just figured that was
I just have to know, was it the first release or the second release? Do you remember?
I'm 90% sure it was the second release.
Oh, wow.
I'm 90% sure, from what my memory, anyways. I think it was like 788 or something like that, and I was just like, oh, holy shit, that was bizarre. It's still very bizarre seeing Troma titles in Walmart. We were seeing some midnight releasing stuff, although I haven't seen that as much lately. They had like Scavenger Killers, and there were like one or two others that I bought at Walmart, but I haven't seen them, at least in the last few months, get into Walmart too much. But I don't know. It seems like if it's a paranormal sort of ghost release, that always ends up there. I can't count. I think there was like 4 new ones like that out this past week when I make my runs to Walmart, Best Buy, FYE, etc., looking for new stuff. So it's nice when they pick up new companies. So hopefully we'll see more from Chemical Burns. Popped up once or twice, and so it's always nice. And in other news, casting news, this one I actually think is particularly cool because I am a fan of this actress. Mimi Rogers has joined the cast of Ash versus the Evil Dead, which is going to be, of course, debuting this fall. She's going to be playing Susie Maxwell, a woman who is reunited with her family and several uninvited guests after a freak accident. This is, of course, the show's currently shooting in New Zealand for its season 1, which will be 10 episodes. I'm a big fan of hers in general, although she did, I guess people can be mad at her because she did, I think she was the one that introduced Tom Cruise to Scientology, so we've got...
that is right. Didn't she escape?
I think she's one of the former members. I don't know. God, did you ever watch that documentary, I think Going Clear?
I still have it on my DVR along with a bunch of other stuff I haven't watched yet, but I keep meaning to.
It's really funny. I remember after that I Googled like some people that are in fact Scientologists, celebrities, and it's fucking amazing. I mean, just the shit that some of these people buy into. I guess it's kind of a Hollywood elite sort of thing. I don't describe it.
Oh, jeez. Are we supposed to avoid religion?
Can we really qualify Scientology? There might be Scientology listening. I don't know. I doubt it.
You know what, though? And this is not me belittling anyone's faith, because I respect whatever faith you are into. But, I mean, if you look at it from the other angle, because, I mean, I know how Scientology, the whole thing works, but if you come to someone who has no clue of Christianity and that form of religion, and you tell them, okay, so there's this girl, she got pregnant by a magic guy in the sky and had a baby without having sex and all this stuff, you're going to look at them like, yeah, you're crazy. It's
that's
still
very
all,
true. Yeah.
It's just that's what you've been told from day one. So if you flip it and, a majority of America heard Scientology versus Christianity, they're like, wait, what are you talking about? So, I mean, they're all just faith-based, so it's all perspective.
I think what hurts them, I think, is the fact that it's newer, and it's L. Ron Hubbard, who, if you really look into it, was, a very talented writer, but was, kind of a fucking loon, and there's proof to that fact. So it's just, I don't know, it's almost relevant if anybody out there is curious to watch that documentary. I mean, it is almost kind of bordering on horror-like.
Well, just imagine if the world been a little bit different and Lucas decided to do a religion versus L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
We'd all be checking our force levels, whatever it's shit. So.
Metachlorians or something like that. Yeah. Well, that'd be pretty cool if I could learn how to choke someone with my mind. So I don't know. I might throw down with that religion, but hell, there probably is an actual Star Wars religion out there. I would not be shocked at all. But anyways, we're going way off topic. Mimi Rogers, of course, joining the cast, and she's joining Lucy Lawless, who we reported on before, who's playing Ruby, a mysterious figure who believes Ash is the cause of the Deadite outbreaks. Ray Santiago, who's going to be playing Pablo Simon Bolivar, an idealistic immigrant who becomes Ash's loyal sidekick. Dana De Lorenzo is Kelly Maxwell, a moody wild child trying to outrun her past. And Jill Marie Jones from Sleepy Hollow is Amanda Fisher, a disgraced Michigan state trooper set to find our anti-hero Ash and prove his responsibility in the grisly murder of her partner. And, of course, Sam Raimi is going to be directing the first episode. I got to ask you, Todd, has there ever been a TV series debut that has been more anticipated than this? And I'm even throwing Walking Dead in there. I think even I don't know if it'll be that good, but I'm definitely anticipating this more than anything.
I don't know. It's a close second to the live action Police Academy TV series. I think that's about it.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Joking, of course. I am joking,
yeah, I
of
think,
course. No. Yeah.
I wasn't too sure, so I was just like, okay. Yeah, I don't know, Ash back. And I'm actually really glad it's on TV and not a movie. I really actually think that this could work. The more I'm really seeing, like I said, it's a hell of a cast.
No, definitely for sure. The only thing I wish is it would be on. It was a Netflix original, so I could sit and watch all 10 immediately, and not have to wait.
Yeah. Though, that's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, yes, I will sit. If that happened, I would sit down, turn my phone off, and spend the entire day doing nothing but watching it from beginning to end. But then it's over. You know what I mean? You don't have.
That makes it makes the wait so much longer. No, I agree. I just want 30 minutes the first episode. That's gonna be the worst one. To be we're done.
Yeah. Yeah, that I don't know. I have high hopes for this. I've always said I wish a lot of these channels would, particularly pay channels where you can get away with more, would take more chances on stuff like this. That although now I don't know that it's a huge chance. I mean, horror series are kicking ass, but it's nice to see them do something different other than just softcore porn. So. Although, I don't know, we might get a lot of nudity in this being to who it's coming from. I don't know if you ever watched Spartacus.
I was a fan of Spartacus. I think that will be interesting. That's the only reason Bruce signed on. He's like, what, we're on Stars? Yes.
Well, those series go. I don't know. Bruce might have to deliver for the ladies in that one as well. So we'll see. Let's see. checking. Gathering my thoughts here. I guess we should report on this Dead Next Door Blu-ray. Todd, you had sent me the news link for this, and they are, we can, what is it? It's Indiegogo, right?
I want to say, yes, not Kickstarter. I know someone's doing their Kickstarter, so I want to say this is Indiegogo.
Yes, and apparently Dead Next Door, you can support the effort to actually make it happen and pre-order your 3-disc Ultimate Edition Blu-ray of the early 90s zombie flick that really has stayed alive and remains quite popular to this very day. Definitely J.R. Bookwalter's crowning achievement. I think it's $35. I'm looking to the link to the actual logo.
It was $35, and that's the pledge level to get the Blu-ray. I know we were kind of talking off air, but I know the big selling thing on this one is that it has 3 cuts of the film is going to be included. And as of right now, that's the one thing I am not a huge fan about the Anchor Bay disc, because that's the one that's been tweaked for. It's a second cut. If you find the old Canadian disc, that has the same cut as the VHS, so it's been tweaked over the years. So I'm assuming the third cut is going to be a newer director's cut. So that's the one thing about that version is going to be nice, is it will have all 3 cuts. And there is a Blu-ray coming out from 88 Films in June. I actually double-checked on that. And
what's the price difference since you've got it up?
I don't have it up because it's actually, I was going to get to that because I had pre-ordered it on Amazon, and now when I went to click on the pre-order, it says sign up to be notified. So so I want to say it was right around, most of the imports on Amazon CA, they're right around, Amazon.com from the UK are right around 30, and I want to say that's right around what it was, 29. So it wasn't a huge difference. So I don't know. I haven't contributed yet. I'm strongly considering it, just because I would like to, get all 3 cuts. Because I worry is the one that gets remastered on the 88 Films one will end up being either the second cut or a director's cut. I'm not the original cut. That's the one I want. The original cut.
Yeah. The question, I suppose, is how long will it take for us to actually get this 3-disc thing? Because some of these campaigns, you just never know. It could be a year later. But it's definitely worth contributing to. If you've never seen The Dead Next Door, it was pretty impressive. I mean, like I said, Super 8 film that's managed to still have legs to this day. I've always been surprised that J.R. Bookwalter never, he continued to make films and, of course, run, a company, but he never really broke out and did bigger films. I actually really thought that he might, for a time, but he's definitely a talented guy. I don't think he's directed anything, though, in a long time now.
I don't think so. The last stuff I could really remember is when he had that deal with Full Moon.
Yeah, and that's been a while. I was going to say the Witch House sequel. That's definitely been a while. I think it's probably been since the late 90s, early 2000s at the latest. So he's somebody I wouldn't mind seeing make a return. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a remake or a sequel. Who knows? I don't know. That might be a bad idea because I think that's one that was extra impressive just because of how little they had to work with, and it still manages to be quite the film even to this day. But I think that.
They managed to make something in Arizona.
Yes, that's true. Yes, I'm surprised more people don't shoot down there. Actually, I know more. I have a couple friends that shoot down in Arizona. Granted, very small stuff. Aren't a lot of people really not shooting in California right now, even smaller stuff?
Charlie Band still does.
Well, yes, that's true. That's true. I don't know. I have so many friends that are just complaining. They went down there, of course, typically to try and make it as an actor or director or whatever the case may be, and just not really being able to find even smaller projects to work on. But anyways, I think probably the last bit of news I have, anyways, Preacher, another upcoming series. This one's going to be on AMC. Tom Brook has landed a regular role on the series based on Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon's cult 1990s comic book. Brook is going to be playing Fior, and in the books, he's one of the two Adelphi angels sent to Earth to retrieve Genesis. This project from Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg centers on Jesse Custer, played by Dominic Cooper, a conflicted preacher in a small Texas town who merges with a creature that has escaped from heaven and develops the ability to make anyone do anything he says. Along with his ex-girlfriend Tulip and an Irish vampire named Cassidy, the three embark on a journey to literally find God. So that should be interesting. That's a tough one to adapt. I never read all of the Preacher comics, but from what I did read, that was a pretty fucked up series of comic books. I remember picking some up, and I don't know, that one could be challenging because I remember some pretty perverted, sick stuff in it. So hopefully they will deliver for us. And I think that's it, Todd. You don't have any news, do you?
I do not, actually.
Okay, sweet. Well, we will get into our films for the evening. I guess we can kick it off with our non-horror flick first, and that is the Asylum mockbuster San Andreas Quake. Of course, this one, I guess we can say piggybacking the other San Andreas film starring The Rock that's going to be coming out. Is that this Friday? I guess it is, isn't it? Or is that next Friday?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll be honest. I'm actually, first time in a while, I'm actually, an action movie I kind of want to see. I mean, not counting Mad Max.
Oh,
but
you didn't get to see Mad Max yet?
I haven't. I have it all planned out for Monday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember you were asking me if because I know your wife's not big into the graphic violence and trying to figure out.
Yeah.
So you ended up seeing Pitch Perfect too, then?
No, I'm not going.
Different kind of horror flick.
Yeah. I'm really glad.
Yes.
I did not want to contribute to the box office of that one.
Well, that's good. That's good. Plus that, Rebel Wilson lies about her age. I don't know. Apparently she's nearing 40 and she's supposed to be playing a college student or something. I've never seen those films, so I can't really say. What is it? Is it a dance flick or something?
See, that's the thing, and I'll admit, because I have seen the first one, I do have a wife. I thought it was just like a movie version of Glee. It's not. It is. They're like, they're like a choir competition. That's why I thought Glee. But at least the first one. I've heard the second one's crap. But at least the first one, there was some. It was actually funny. So I can't say anything. It's more of a twisted. It's not so just it's not like a happy teeny movie. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Well, hey, at least
and that's not me recommending it. Yeah, that's not me recommending it to you either, Dan. Just to be clear.
Somehow, I don't think I'm going to make it to Pitch Perfect. There's too much out right now. I really wanted to see Ex Machina, which I didn't get to see. I don't know if that's still playing anywhere. But Mad Max, I was going to review it today, but it's kind of redundant. There's so many reviews out there for that. But fantastic, and I'm glad that there's going to be a sequel now, Mad Max Wasteland. So if you haven't gone out to the movies, and we will get into San Andreas here in a moment, definitely that one is well worth your time. It had everything you could possibly hope for from a Mad Max film, and it really delivers. Todd, you're in for a treat. Definitely see it in theaters. So yes,
I will.
San Andreas Quake, the Asylum mockbuster version of the Rock film. And from the back cover, when a discredited L.A. seismologist warns of an impending 12.7 earthquake, no one takes her seriously. Now on her own, she races desperately to get her family to safety before the earthquake breaks Los Angeles apart from the mainland. Okay, so... there's actually a little bit more to it because she's not really on her own. She's essentially trying to make her way to her estranged daughter, or estranged stepdaughter, I should say, while with the stepdaughter's boyfriend. Well, Todd, you just watched it, so maybe you want to go first on this one.
Yeah. I did. You left out the hippo too, by the way. No, that should be somewhere.
Yeah, we'll get
in
into the
hippo. Yeah, it's funny because Asylum has such a bad name for their mockbusters and stuff. But I know we were split on the last one, but I actually did like this one better than whatever their post-nuke was called. Acting-wise, I thought it was on point. I mean, nothing really to... Well, yes, there is some stuff to complain about, but I thought it was a solid, disaster flick. Standard format. I mean, a formula, we got to go and rescue X because they're still stuck in Y, and, but it was still a fun ride. I don't really have any, complaints, and we're holding off on the hippo, so.
Yeah, well, it kind of, I mean, really every disaster movie from the last, I don't know, 30 years or so seems to rip off the last one. I mean, it's all, I think it's one script for all of the films, but I do enjoy them. I think the formula... I mean, you definitely feel like, okay, I've seen this before, but it doesn't necessarily quite matter if the formula works and you have a decent enough cast, which fortunately this one did. I didn't really have any major complaints in terms of acting in this one. The characters are fairly likable. The Grace Van Dien, actually, the daughter of Casper Van Dien, played the daughter in this one. And another Asylum flick, actually, that doesn't utilize a major, major B-movie star, which has been a theme lately with Road Wars and a few others recently that they haven't, tacked on a Eric Roberts or a C. Thomas Howell. I thought this one worked pretty well, actually. There's not a whole lot to complain about in terms of really bad CG. Everything kind of more or less worked. All the cliches are there. If you don't particularly like these films, then this isn't going to be any different. And if you do, I think you will. They have the typical cliche where the seismologist was wrong about a major disaster a few years prior, and now she has no respect. You could literally play a drinking game and count the cliches. The boyfriend who she does not care for and turns out to have a heart of gold. wanting her boss to evacuate all these people, but the boss won't listen to her. You'd be shit hammered if you took a swig every time a cliche popped up. Even the panicked, nervous guy who just won't listen to reason in the middle of the disaster. It's all there. But we do get one really crazy, wild asylum moment in an otherwise, pretty typical disaster movie that could have just as easily have, aired on, TNT, 10 or 15 years ago. And that is a hippo. We do see them take a detour through the zoo, and they hit a baby hippo and then get attacked by the mother. So it was almost kind of like this movie's a little bit, playing it too straight. We need to have a fucking animal attack. And, yes, so you do get that. Todd, what did you think of the random hippo?
I was like, wait, what? I literally was like, did I miss something? I had to rewind to make sure I didn't miss some kind of plot point. The escape from the zoo. That was the one thing with the CGI I would mention, because you said CGI was fine. I thought that looked kind of...
yeah, that looked bad. Actually, when they went to check what they hit, they show this baby hippo. My first reaction is, God, they fucked that guy up. But then I'm like, it's a fucking hippo. That was bad CG. But actually, I don't know. I can't really complain about it because I thought that was funny as hell. The hippo.
I did too.
Spoiler alert.
It was very, it was very Asylum-ish too. Yes.
It almost did feel like something they might have added later. It's just like, well, this movie's just not, didn't do anything wild or crazy. So, obviously it unfolds exactly as you would expect. You've seen the movie before, but I liked it. It's more of an old-school disaster flick than the cheesy CGI-driven film that you might expect. So yeah. Let's see, how do we rank this one? As I always point out when we review these films, like something like this, at least for me, my star rating kind of would put this up against other disaster films. So, I don't think maybe that it's necessarily a must-see, but in the realm of other disaster films, I'd say this one's above average. I'd give this one a 3 out of 5. Doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it's lively. There's a very lively finale, never boring. And I enjoyed it. If you're a fan, check it out. Todd, what do you say?
I agree with that. Number rating though, I am stuck on that. I definitely recommend it if you like this type of flick. It was, I would honestly probably put it somewhere around a 3.5.
Okay, yeah, that's probably that's fair. Like I said, if you're ranking it based on other disaster flicks, this one was certainly better than most. And although we did kind of like LA Apocalypse, although that certainly had its B-movie moments. I remember we reviewed that one, the lead whose hair is never ruffled whatsoever.
Which I honestly didn't even notice that. That was your mom, you said, right, who noticed that?
My mom didn't point that out. Like, this guy's hair ever changed. It looks like it even looked like he had like fucking makeup on. It was it was pretty terrible, but no, like I said, if you want one that kind of for the most part plays straight, hey, it's not bad. Definitely worth at least a Netflix or Redbox rental if you're a fan of these films. So yes, moving on to a horror release, perhaps some would say even a classic horror release. The new Blu-ray of Madman, the 1981 slasher flick from director Joe Giannone. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. The late Joe Giannone. And Madman, in case you've never seen it, this is, I should say, the new Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome. And, yes, from the back cover, years ago, Madman Mars violently murdered his family only to escape into the woods before his execution could be completed. Legend has it that anyone who calls his name above a whisper can summon him back to continue his bloody rampage. But teenage Richie, away at camp, doesn't believe the old legend and calls his name. As night falls, strange things start happening at camp, and soon Madman Mars is back, axe in hand, to finish the killing spree he started decades ago. One of the true classics of 80s slasher cinema, Vinegar Syndrome proudly presents Madman on Blu-ray for the first time, newly restored in 4K from the camera negative. So I suspect our review isn't going to differ too much on this one. I love this film. In fact, it's not even one that I can say it's been that long since I've watched it, because it's one I tend to pop in at least once a year, and it holds up pretty well. It's one of those slasher flicks, and there's very few that we can say this about lately, especially, that holds up fairly well today. It just kind of has that really cool, that really eerie sort of vibe that makes it a really cool film to sit down and watch, particularly around Halloween time. It's one I can even recommend to some non-slasher fans. It's one I've even shown people, and they kind of like it, even if they're not big into slashers. And it manages some pretty solid stalk scares. There's some creative kills in here. It certainly doesn't hold up to the brutality of today, but there's some neat, particularly neat decapitations and a pretty cool killer. I think this one holds up great. I think it's a drive-in classic. And Todd, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. It's definitely, I'd put it up there in one of the classic slashers. The one thing I was thinking while watching, oh yeah, and it looked great too. Kind of a sub little question, but where do you rank between? Because it's either The Burning or Madman. Which do you think is the better of the two?
Oh wow!
Similar storyline. I mean, both on the same legend, you know.
Yeah, I still give the edge to Burning, but not by a lot. Truthfully, I hold this film in pretty high regard.
I do too.
But no, I would still give the edge to Burning.
Yeah, I think those Savini effects probably have a big part in that. I mean, not that these are bad. I'm just saying he was at his peak on The Burning for sure. But yeah, I'm the same way. I was just they're the same, based off the same legend and stuff. So, but The Burning does not have a song like Madman Mars. So I'm just saying. And I wish that would have been our song tonight. Jesus, where was my head? Damn it.
We can do it next week. Why not?
There we go. Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot to say about the film, so I guess we might as well jump into, transfer was top-notch from Vinegar Syndrome as usual. But, I mean, features, it was nice, we got new interviews with Paul Ehlers. Am I saying that right? Gary Sales.
Paul Ehlers, yeah.
And, Paul Ehlers, there we go. Gary Sales and Jimmy Steele for 35th, or is that 30th? Jeez.
35th?
No, 35th. Jeez. I feel old. 35th anniversary documentary on that. Well, I was only 4 when this came out, so I don't feel as bad. And there was another new one, too. Was Alive at 35 a new?
Yep.
Yeah, Alive at 35. Jesus. Yeah, so they're right there in the tower. And then I was really glad to see the previous 30 years of Madman documentary ported over. Previously appeared on the Code Red disc. And the commentary, the music by and memorial, and some trailers and TV spots. And there was a new commentary about The Hysteria Continues also. So I thought it was a very good overall package. Of course, if you're behind the times and you don't have a Blu-ray player, it is a DVD Blu-ray combo. So
yes, most of the. Although it actually doesn't say that on the front, so yeah, it's good that we point that out. This is probably one of the more well-known releases from Vinegar Syndrome, who quickly becoming my favorite company. I mean, they're just stellar. No matter how obscure, this one's not obscure, but although it may have sort of been for a time, I suppose, but no matter how obscure the film, I'm just floored every time just how fantastic it looks from them. They always deliver. And this one, in terms of extras, I thought it was fantastic. They have, of course, the reunion of the stars, Paul Ehlers, of course, the Madman Mars, who I've had the pleasure of meeting, and Tom Candela, who plays Richie, kind of reunited Ehlers' house. And it's a really fun featurette just to see the passion Ehlers has for the character. He still has all sorts of Madman swag there, including, painting, sculptures, some custom-made stuff. It's really kind of a fun one for fans and that really appreciate this movie to just see that passion. They get into the remake that they're trying to make, which obviously still hasn't happened. I guess remake, sequel, whatever they end up doing with it, who knows. And, lots of funny stories, including apparently some nude hot tub parties after hours. It was the 80s, I guess that happened on film sets. It covers a lot of ground. Gary Sales has a lot of information on it. It's funny that you mentioned The Burning, because The Burning was actually what forced them to kind of retool the script a little bit, because they had found out The Burning was shooting, and this was originally, I suppose, going to be Cropsy as well. So they had to change it up a little bit. I think it's fantastic. In terms of extras, I think you get all the information that you could possibly want. It's nice to hear them talk about sort of that post-Halloween slasher rush by studios, which we'll kind of get into even more with another film we're reviewing here tonight. So I guess rating the film. I don't want to say it's perfect, but it's still, for me, a must if you're even at all into the classic slashers, which I do include this as one of the classic slashers. Again, from that magical year of 1981, where I think things were kind of at its peak. I give this one a 4.5 out of 5. It's one that still holds up, and at least a lot of the people that I have gotten to watch it tend to enjoy it, which I cannot say that about many slashers, even some of the classic ones. I mean, Halloween, even the original Halloween, I've shown some people and they don't see the big deal. I love the film, but this one seems to have the right tone and really kind of just deliver. So, Todd, what say you?
I'd agree with the 4.5. Definitely. I'd probably put this right in my top 10 slashers. It'd be somewhere in there. I don't know what number. And overall package, it's a 5. And I was thinking,
5 package.
Oh God, this I know you mentioned it's one of the higher profile Vinegar Syndrome titles. I'd have to say this is probably their highest profile title. Period.
Yeah, probably.
Just followed right after by Christmas Evil.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd actually even. That's kind of an interesting battle, though, because I know Christmas Evil's a pretty huge deal for a lot of people. But I don't know. I'd still give the edge to Madman. I have everything. Vinegar Syndrome. It's almost impossible to do it, but I have almost every. I think I'm missing about 3 titles, but I have everything that they put out.
I am proud to say I am 100% complete.
You are, okay. Yeah, I need the last batch, which I'm gonna. What was it? Long Gene Silver, Starship Arrows. I need those, and I'm missing a couple back titles. Did you get Murder on the Emerald Sea?
Yes. And
I knew you were missing that one.
No, I wasn't. I got that one in the package, which I was just going to mention because I was going to ask if you were missing the newest limited one. There you go.
I have that one coming because they were offering it with the June package, I believe.
Right.
So yes, and I should say you can save money by going to the website, which it's vinsyn.com, correct? I don't want to bad information.
I actually think if you type in Vinegar Syndrome, it still redirects you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, that's one thing. I mean, I will say, and that's how I'm completely up to date. Although I want to say it was this past Black Friday is when I caught up on everything I was missing. And then
I still need
a couple of the Alex Terenzi titles.
Naturally, I think I have all of the XXX ones. Like I said, except the last couple that just came out.
Are you still missing Are you still missing more of the gay porn stuff? I can't remember who the director's name.
Yes, Wakefield Pool.
Wakefield,
I'm missing a couple of those. Although I'm not ashamed to say that if it gets to a point where I have everything, I might be buying some gay porn. As a collector, I assume that means you have them.
I didn't. Yes, I did. I'll probably never watch them, but I can say my collection is 100% complete. It's funny because I didn't notice that, so I'm opening them all up, and hey, wait, what?
I have Bible, although Wakefield Poole, he's a very well-respected filmmaker. That's the thing that a lot of people may not realize if you're not into the, kind of the sexploitation, be it XXX or softcore. A lot of filmmakers in the 70s and into the early part of the 80s were legit filmmakers. There's some really good films. In fact, Dracula Sucks is one worth checking out. It really functions as a legit movie that just has some hardcore sex in it.
I didn't tell you this, and I want to say it's this Saturday, so I cannot go. They are screening that in L.A.
Oh, wow.
But
you would feel a little bit odd, though, watching. Although that one I probably wouldn't, but a XXX feature,
I can't remember the festival it's in, but I know Vinegar Syndrome is promoting it. Too bad I have a prior commitment for a wrestling event, but...
Oh, yes, I was going to say, I don't know. I've never had that experience of the hobo masturbating one row down from me in a sort of 42nd Street screening. So I don't know.
You were the hobo?
LA. Huh?
I said, does that mean you're the hobo?
Yeah. Pee Wee Herman's there out in the alleyway. It'd be a pretty cool experience, but I don't know. I can't say, even if I were around back in the day, I'd feel a little bit weird, like other people in the theater while I'm watching a porno. I don't know. That's something that, although I guess help. I mean, we wouldn't have had the internet, so.
Yeah, we didn't have.
What you can get.
You didn't have any other option to see porn. That's the whole thing. I still remember when my porn theater closed. It was a sad day. One of their last things they ever played was John Wayne Bobbitt Uncut.
Oh yes, yes. I don't know. I've never gone to a porn. At this point, I think it's safe to say I won't. It's funny you mentioned that. I totally forgot. I don't know if you've watched on the WWE network the Jerry. I forget what it's called now, but the Jerry Springer thing that they have. I forgot that Bobbitt came out with Val Venus after that Kai and Kai angle.
Oh my God! That is, I totally forgot that too.
Yeah, and he's another guy that I met at a Chiller convention sometime in the last 4 or 5 years, and it was funny as hell. He was hanging out with Brutus the Barber Beefcake and Greg Valentine. It was just really random, and he's actually a pretty cool guy.
If I would have known, I would have sent you my John Wayne Bobbitt Uncut poster. I have the full theatrical size.
Oh, okay. That would be cool. Yeah, I remember somebody went up to him and just said, every time I hear that song, because I had a bad day, I think of you. And he kind of laughed at it. Anytime you think you're having a bad day, just think your wife, girlfriend, whatever, could have chopped your dick off and thrown it out a car window. So, it helps you put things into perspective, I suppose.
I still think they should have made a buddy comedy with him and Joey Buttafuoco. That was money.
Yes. I will throw it out there right now before we go on our commercial break that for any of you that want to hang out right after we finish our reviews, there are a couple things that we could probably talk about this week real fast, including a certain video that might be coming from Vivid that I know you and I will be pre-ordering day one.
Yes.
But anyway, I guess we can go to our...
Tape.
Yeah. Yes, I have that. This one I think we'll get to see even more. But yes, we do have a brief musical interlude for you guys. Todd, what do we have?
Well, tonight we have from Return of the Living Dead, Party Time. So let's just jump into that, and we'll be back in just under 3 minutes. Wait. Sweet. Oh, shoot. Sorry, we're having switchboard issues. I gotta wait.
Play Sunny's theme song.
I know you want me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. All right. Well, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
we are back, correct, Todd?
We are back, and I forgot to mute your mic. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, yeah, I was listening for the beep. Well, I wasn't even in the room, so that would have been embarrassing if I were trying to rub one out real quick or something. Could have been entertaining. 3 minutes, 5-finger quickie.
We could have just muted the music.
I go in the other room for that. Yeah, you really... You might have, if you have a good ear, you might have heard my cat licking his balls or something. That's about all you get. But yes. So yes, we are back, and I guess I'll get my solo review for the evening out of the way. It is solo, correct, Todd? You didn't watch They Will Outlive Us All, did you?
I did not.
Okay. Actually, one you might want to watch. So yes, this one is a new indie horror flick called They Will Outlive Us All. I believe it was just released, actually. And from the back cover, New York City has been devastated by a series of Frankenstorms. Food is scarce, and all the bridges and tunnels are closed. In this post-apocalyptic city, roommates Margot and Daniel are bracing themselves for not only the next storm, but for something much more gruesome and undead. Something growing right inside the apartment building. Can they survive each other long enough to stop it? Yeah, this is an indie horror flick that was just put out by Wild Eye Releasing, and it's from director Patrick Shearer. And, well, I like this one quite a bit. It's got a very quirk vibe, fantastic chemistry. This is one of these few indie films that, because there really aren't that many, and this is micro-budget stuff. I mean, I don't know exactly what kind of a budget they were working with, but I know it was small. And the leads, Jesse Goda and Nat Cassidy, are fantastic. If I were doing a $100,000 film, or hell, a $1 million film, I would still cast these two. They had fantastic chemistry. They're both kind of these antisocial roommates who just don't like being around people. And it's like I said, it's a very quirky sort of comedic vibe. It's not quite like Mad Max post-apocalyptic. It's kind of like a New York that's just been, there've been like 13 hurricanes in 5 years, and things are just kind of vaguely just sort of shitty. They still have jobs, but FEMA's sort of dropping, emergency food supplies and everything. But most of the film, it's one of those movies, not a lot of money, but they make the best of it. Most of it all takes place just in their apartment or, in the complex, and it works. Very little money, but it's hilarious. Lots of sort of slapstick humor that worked really well for me. But at the same time, also managing to be creepy. The lead actors, you care very much for them. I will follow them. I wish I were. If I were casting people, I would grab them immediately for my next project. Yeah, it's not stupid humor. It's not toilet humor. It doesn't kind of go the simple, easy way that a lot of films at this budget range tend to. It's really clever, and a couple minor, not necessarily complaints, but observations that I will throw out there. It does end abruptly, but I really kind of hope we get a sequel to this, so I'm not necessarily complaining, but God, I hope we get a sequel. This one really deserves it because I love these characters so much. I hate comparing to different other bigger movies, but it really almost felt like that sort of camaraderie that we got from, say, Shaun of the Dead. I know that's a big statement. I mean, I'm not saying it's as good as Shaun of the Dead, but in terms of the leads, I really enjoyed that. I'd really love to see more from this world because, the shit's just kind of hitting the fan towards the end. And, it had some great moments. Like I said, it gets a little more serious towards the end, and you really feel for these characters. It's not, like from the front cover, they're kind of comparing, Evil Dead 2, and it's not, you're not getting the type of gore that you would see in that. Like I said, it's a very small-budgeted movie, but with limited means, I think they made something quite special. It's essentially, it's not really a zombie movie, not really a creature feature. It's these bugs that can sort of kind of become get inside people and kind of turn them into sort of zombie-like things. And there's a particularly cool moment, funny moment, where one of the leads does in fact become ingests one of these bugs, and the other has to get it out. I really like this. If you're a fan of small, micro-budget indies, this one is definitely one of the good ones. I just hope, though, we get that sequel, because like I said, I won't spoil the ending, but it really does end right when, and that's the only complaint that I know some people will have. But I can't hold that against it, because I'm sure they're thinking sequel. So in the realm of indie cinema, I give this one a 4 out of 5. I really liked it a lot, held my interest, left me wanting more. I did not look at my watch one time. It was a breezy 80 or 90 minutes. So, definitely check it out.
I regret that's the one. I regret that's the one I didn't check out. Mm-hmm. Although I don't have a huge complaint out this week. It's not like San Andreas was a stinker or anything like that.
No, actually, this was a pretty solid week. I mean, nothing horrible. We have, because Horror Society is very indie-oriented, so we always try and have at least one, if not two, smaller indies. And we've had a couple stinkers as of late, so I was really glad that this one delivered. Again, it's not a gore fest. That might be the only thing that some people might be expecting and be disappointed by. But if you're really just a fan of just really cool characters, a great script, you definitely want to check it out. I paid $10 for this. I would imagine, I actually bought it at FYE, but I would imagine it's roughly the same on Amazon, and it's well worth adding to your collection. Probably Wild Eye, they're kind of 50-50 as far as their films go. They put out a couple cool ones. Skinless, one of Dustin. No, they didn't put out Skinless, I don't think. But they put out a couple good ones, and this is definitely one of their best. So check it out. And moving on to our next film, I guess we can do... Satan's Blade we'll tackle next. And I should say this is the 30th anniversary Blu-ray of Satan's Blade from Slasher Video, distributed through their deal with Olive. And from the back cover... Oh, your dog is...
Yes, I got a tap.
Hello?
I'm here.
Okay. I thought your dog killed you or something.
No, I just muted till she calmed down.
That's okay. Yes, from the back cover, a terrifying story of mystery, horror, and violence. What evil lurks in the woodlands? The haunting legend of the mountains becomes a shocking reality when seemingly innocent holidaymakers become victims of sadistic stabbings. Romance and murder are horrifyingly entangled. Satan's blade will stop at nothing. Also known as Espada Satanica, Los Espada de Satan, and Satana Ostrica. I guess they really want to give us all the foreign titles on this. Satan's Blade has been digitally remastered using the original 35mm film supplied by the film's producer-director 30 years after its initial VHS release. Sort of the first release in this video deal. Todd, what did you think, and is this one you had seen before? I know it was quite obscure on VHS for a long time.
I actually had seen it, but I haven't seen it in years and years. It was pretty much what I remembered. So I didn't have a super fondness, like, something I'd grown up with. I'd seen it, and I thought it was cool. How it's held up over the years, I still thought it was a cool little slasher. It's not one of the best, but it's it was obviously a more low-budget one than a lot of it's, even a Madman or, The Bernie or something of that ilk. But I still thought it was fun for what it was. I mean, it was a little bit, I can't even think of what year it came out. But
84. It was shot in 82,
okay.
Came out in 84.
All right, that makes sense. But yeah, I still had fun with it. I mean, you got some boobs, some blood. The gore wasn't top notch, but I still had fun with it. I mean, it's not in my top 10 unlike our other slasher from earlier this evening. But yeah, so this was your first time though, Dan?
Yeah, actually, I think it was. This one was one I wasn't too sure if I rented it ages ago, and I still may have, but I can't say I really remembered it too much. And that might be because it's not that memorable. I've got to be honest, I didn't particularly care for this. Part of the problem, I think, and a lot of these really ultra low budget, slasher bloom titles from that period. Some of the ones that really do still work for me are the ones that are bad but are entertaining. See, this one wasn't quite bad to the point where it had a lot of entertainment value for me. It starts off interestingly enough with the sort of I guess lesbian bank robbers, and it seemed like it might be kind of an interesting sort of sleazy slasher release. It just doesn't really there's nothing to say about it. It's not like atrociously made, but it's not very good. There's nothing in terms of kills. There's just not one that really delivered or felt creative in any way for me. The acting's horrible, but not. Again, it's one of those things where not to the point where you're really getting laughs out of it. It's just really bad acting. I know it's a hard thing to explain to people, but yeah, it's one that I really think at this point it's collectible. That's all I can say about it. The movie, if you're limited in terms of your funds, do not expect anything great. Even if you're a die-hard slasher fan, and a lot of them, and I've always admitted this, a lot of them don't hold up very well for me. I consider myself a fan, but there are more than a few that we've reviewed that don't hold up too well. And, yeah, this one just doesn't. There's a little bit of nudity. There were times where I felt this one was taking itself a little too seriously. Very sort of scatterbrained script. I mean, you've seen it all before. The legend. There's a bit of a murder mystery, I suppose. But it just didn't work. I don't know. I was kind of expecting this one to be funnier than really it was. Because you see the boom mic and all a terrible makeup job on. I don't want to reveal too much, but the killer. It's just. That's it. That's all I can say about it. It's collectible, but the movie itself, there's just groan-inducing dialogue, and just not a whole lot going on that really sort of held my interest. It did have a nice location. I guess I can throw that out there, but I guess we can review actually the extras, which are about as extensive as you could really hope for a film like this. The director, kind of a little bit scatterbrained, because he even at one point sidetracks himself into talking about his Vietnam experience, and a lot of typical stories, getting screwed on pay, just how corrupt the home video market was at that time, and particularly the artwork being stolen and used for Satan's Blood, a much better movie, I think. We would probably both agree. And he even talks a little bit about a Kickstarter for Satan's Blade 2, which I don't know if that exists yet, but I can't say I'm going to contribute. This movie. No, I don't think I will. I really don't. I think Dead Next Door will get my money if I contribute to anything. The movie, I give it a 1. It's certainly not the worst from that period, but I can't really come up with any reason that you absolutely have to see this. I wasn't impressed in any way. As far as extras go, I give this one, a 3.5 out of 5. There really probably isn't a whole lot more that you can do with it. I would have liked to have seen some of the cast. I'm kind of surprised with such a large cast that he wasn't able to find someone to talk about it, but at the same time, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on, not the rating of the film. I'm a little bit more generous on this one. I'm giving it a 2.5. Extras are 3.5. I kind of thought some of the stuff was, while it is informative, the interview with the director was just so badly shot, and nothing. And if you want to display his stuff, you take it out, you take photos, you insert that stuff in, and they obviously got scans because they were in the photo galleries. That was just like, I think I've been editing so much lately. I'm like, do some,
Yeah, it was
just
like sloppy.
That's a minor complaint because it was an informative interview. It just wasn't necessarily a pretty presentation. But overall, I'd recommend it for the collectability, and like I said, I 2.5 is average.
And I should say again, I'm a guy that owns films like Hellroller, Burglar from Hell, Ozone, Attack of the Redneck Mutants, a lot of wretched but very collectible titles, and I think that's honestly why most people put this out. I don't see anybody out there that would be, like, Satan's Blade, this is one of my absolute favorite slashers. I can't imagine that person exists, except maybe the director, I don't know. It's, like I said, it's all collectability. If you're into this period, then you're probably going to pick it up. Just don't expect a particularly good movie, because I don't think you'll get it. Although, you gave it 2.5, so that's certainly watchable. But I got to stick to my 1. I don't know. But anyways, our final film, which I think will probably bode a little bit better. Maybe, I guess I can't say for sure. The Devil's Wedding Night from from director Paul Solve, a.k.a. Luigi Betzella. And this is a 1973 film. This is the Code Red Blu-ray, and if you missed that, obviously Code Red, not big into advertising. You can get that through their Big Cartel store, which you can access at codereddvd.com. And from the back cover, a man, Mark Damon, from, well, a lot of horror films, goes to Transylvania searching for a cursed ancient ring. His quest brings him to Castle Dracula, where he discovers and falls for a strange, beautiful woman played by Euro cult legend Rosalba Neri, who turns out to be Countess Dracula. It seems she's hell-bent on bringing old Drac back to life, and she also succeeds. The man is put under the Countess's evil spell. His twin brother eventually shows up and tries to save him, a cult Euro horror favorite that features very atmospheric and sometimes brutally shocking scenes, not for the timid and one to keep away from your young kids. And it was kind of a long description. Actually, this one, no Bill Olsen-like shots during the description. No, nobody's going to buy this sort of comment or anything. He kind of goes on a budget.
It's not even you're lucky if you were able to purchase this or something.
Yeah, no, there was nothing. I was kind of like, I'm kind of expecting that now. But he opts not to do it. He kind of goes on to talk about blood and breasts. And I don't know, this one feels like he's really trying to sell it, which is a good thing.
I know. He didn't even put over the fact Katrina's breasts are, well, not unclothed, calm down. Katrina's breasts are in the extras.
Yes. I will say the bucket list theater extra with her, I thought was actually pretty funny. I've always said she was much better than Maria. I think. Well, I should say, much better than Maria.
I was going to say, pretty much every aspect of that, I'd agree with you. Not just her horror.
More sense. Yeah, it feels like she actually watches the films, and I don't know. Maybe Maria is a legit horror fan, but I like her. I was a fan of her during her wrestling days. I really.
I was too.
They really need to put, I don't know, because incest was a theme in a lot of Euro horror flicks, and they need to do a random Paul Burchill cameo where he like joins her for something. The distinction of being one of those last adult gimmicks that they started but they didn't really finish, right before the PG era. But yes, we'll save our wrestling for later.
I was going to say, she's actually going to be wrestling in a women's tournament in a few weeks out here.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I was a big fan of her. I liked even her winter run in TNA.
Yeah.
She's a talented lady. Very, very, it's kind of funny because I kept just watching her in this, and she kind of has that old, not old, but that sort of classic, sort of old-time movie beauty about her. She's just kind of got that classic look to her that's, I think, really cool. I could actually very easily see her in the 70s appearing in a film like this. Well, I'm sure we both wish for that. So, yes, this was another sort of drive-in favorite that I've always been quite fond of. It's not, I mean, it's definitely not a classic of Euro horror, but I think it's actually a lot better than it gets credit for. It's one I've watched over the years and enjoyed. A hell of a pedigree with a lot of the cast and crew on this one. The director also did Nude for Satan, which is a favorite of mine, SS Hellcamp. He did one of the Django flicks, Cut Price Corpses, I believe it was. And Rosalba Neri, I don't know why she isn't more of a name in comparison to, an Edwig or a Barbara Steele. I mean, maybe not Barbara Steele, obviously, a bit higher on the totem pole, but she's always been fantastic. And she's done a lot of work too. I mean, Lady Frankenstein, Slaughter Hotel. She was in at least two Jess Franco films. I know 99 Women and the cast of Fu Manchu. She was even in The Arena with Pam Grier. So she had a hell of a career, and I don't know why she's not a name that's remembered. I think she was fantastic in this. The movie, it has its moments, particularly all those random shots of Mark Damon riding the horse, which I recall I think Elvira made fun of, because this was actually one of the on one of the Elvira DVD releases.
It was, and that was the only one I owned, and it was still a damn good transfer too. Yeah. I think the film actually looks really good. I think Code Red did a good job on this one. And, I was talking about the Elvira disc. I think that was the best transfer up until this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It actually was better than you would expect, from what I remember. Like I said, this one I think is actually better than people give it credit for. It's got a great moody score. It's not going to rank among, some of the Hammer classics or anything, but I still think it's one that people will enjoy. I think it's a really neat little gothic horror, and who can complain with Rosalba Neri's sort of naked bloodbath? I think that was a pretty striking image, and definitely, I think that alone, they could have just stuck that on a Blu-ray, and I probably still would have bought it. But what do you think?
I agree with that. Like I said, it's not one of my favorites of that Euro cult, but it's still very enjoyable. I'd probably rank it at right around a 3.5 if I had to throw a number out.
Yeah, that's actually, as far as the movie, that's kind of what I would put it at too. Although this is an era where I kind of like almost all of it, so it's it's not like slashers for me, where there's certainly some that I just really don't care for.
Right.
But I like this one. Obviously we don't get much in terms of extras, although the bucket list mode I thought was actually pretty funny here, and kind of proves once again that she's very talented. I kind of hope to see her at some point maybe turn up in a couple maybe low budget horror flicks, because I would like to see it. I think she's got some talent.
I have to ask, do you own what is it, Porn Shoot Massacre with Shelley Martinez?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I need to make sure.
Yeah. Yes, you get to see a lot of Shelley, a.k.a. Ariel, in that one. She's actually another one that I thought they never got as much out of her as they could have.
No, even her TNA run, too.
Yeah, no, she was. She had a great look. I thought she was really talented. Not the best female wrestler, but she's somebody that I thought had a star quality about her, and they just never made it work.
I haven't seen her around as much probably in the last year. She's still out and about in wrestling, but just not as much here. I know it's funny because I was tempted a few times to take that DVD up with me and have her sign it for me. It's like, hey, find it.
Yeah, I'm sure she would. I'm sure she would. She was recording all those, that character she was playing, like a superhero type thing that she was recording those videos for a while, and kind of turning up on a lot of different wrestling sites. I think sort of trying to get a gig, which I've always been, it's a shame she never did. I don't know. She's one of those ones that came along at a time in the business where there were a lot of shitty gimmicks going around. I mean, she was a vampire and she was a pirate's girl, but she still kind of made it work and was entertaining. But like I said, we'll get into that after the review.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think we kind of already essentially ranked the movie. It's a 3.5. I think it's one, though, that if you remember it not being so great, you might want to revisit it again, because I think it's actually a lot better than people give it credit for. It's not the crappy little flick that Mystery Science Theater, Elvira, or what have you. I don't think it was ever on Mystery Science Theater. I have to double check, but I know Elvira kind of had her fun with it. And, it's a pretty cool little flick. And I have to say, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Mark Damon, the star, have you seen his IMDb? He became a hell of a producer. Did just mm-hmm.
No, go ahead. No, I did know he became a producer. Well, because I think she mentioned it.
Well, a huge producer, actually. He just did Lone Survivor, Monster, Two Guns. But what's really Das Boot. But what's really funny is how random it is. I mean, shit that you would not expect. He was the producer or the executive producer on Orgasmo, The Jungle Book, Beastmaster 2, 9.5 Weeks, Wild Orchid, The Never-Ending Story, Short Circuit, Lost Boys. I mean, it's like a mixture of like kids stuff, horror, and like softcore porn. He really got around. Still is, actually.
He had to make one he enjoyed, the one for the kids, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I'm just like watching this and thinking like, wow, this guy produced Orgasmo with Ron Jeremy. That's pretty cool.
I just watched that. Still love that film. And since we're talking about this, I did manage to, while I was doing some work, so I'm in the background and check out the transfer floor. I did check out The Night Child, and I have to say the transfer was top notch also. And just throwing that out there for everyone to know. And with the Obsessed one, it's a solid transfer. It's a solid transfer, but it's obviously the print's not in the best shape. But overall, once the print damage at the beginning kind of settles down, it's a solid transfer also. Not reference quality or anything, but for an older grindhouse pick, I thought it was good. I don't think we'll get anything better.
Well, Obsessed one's another one that like not a whole lot of people have really even seen. I don't even know if there's a trailer out there for that one, at least that I could find. Well, I know it was put out under an alternate title.
Yeah, I do have to say that is one of the no menu code red ones, and it actually does include the trailer, but it's after the feature.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm interested to check that one out. It's another one that I don't think I've seen. I may have, but we'll see. But yeah, we didn't. I don't think we actually rated this Blu-ray. I give it a 3. There's not a lot of extras, but I really wouldn't be on this one. And like I said, the bucket list theater thing, short but sweet. I thought it was, it was funny, and I always, again, she's a great host.
And she managed to pack a lot of information in, and she doesn't force you to watch a little bit of her music video clips beforehand. No.
Yeah, I was going to say, she's never shilled her pop song like Maria's B-movie Mayhem. That was a horror film in of itself.
And I want to say it was the last. It was. I want to say it was the last one or the very first bucket list theater. I can't remember which one it was, but there was that veiled shot at her. Something pops. I remember it. I can't remember what she said, but I just thought that was hilarious. I'm sure Bill wrote that.
I was going to say maybe she can show up in Ring of Honor and maybe have a match with Maria. It could be interesting, the battle of the horror hostesses. Somebody's got to book that for October. Todd, you've got the hook up with UEW right now. We need to make that happen just for us. I'm sure they can book it, and I'm sure she can carry Maria to something passable.
Well, I think close as we might get, I want to say in the women's tournament, Katrina, she's in it. No Maria, but Sage Sin Supreme might get to wrestle her. I don't know if the tournament brackets. I do not know the tournament brackets right now, so I want to see what's coming up.
Okay, well we'll report on that. I know we have something coming up with them, and yes, so that's it for our reviews, and we have a little extra time because there's no TV Terror talk really yet, although that will be coming soon because a lot's coming back. Hannibal, again, if you haven't watched that, try and catch up while you can. Hannibal is freaking awesome, and I have to see exactly when it's coming back. I know it's soon-ish. And maybe we'll cover David Duchovny's new thing, the premiere, the Manson thing. I can't remember the name right now, but the trailer for that didn't look particularly good. But it's David Duchovny, so I'm sure we'll both give it a shot.
I have to admit,
Californication fan.
I am too. I had to look while we were talking. Yeah, it's AWS presents Ladies Night Saturday, May 30th. And I'm not really putting this over, I'm just saying. But it's also got Melina.
Is she actually working? Because I heard she was done.
With a very, very special in-ring ref. So, yeah, she'll be reffing the match.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say, because I had heard that, she was injured, she didn't wrestle for a long time, and then she kind of announced that she wasn't, in fact, coming back. I think if she were, she'd probably have a spot on Lucha Underground if she really wanted to make a comeback, but doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
Yeah. I'm sure she could probably still do something if she really wanted to.
She could, yeah. I kind of missed her. I know she wasn't terribly popular backstage, but I kind of not very popular at all, I should say. But
maybe with the fellas.
Yes, I think Batista's a very big fan. I don't know how much, and again, obviously this is the point where if you were just sticking around for the horror stuff, this is our little bonus segment. But I always had heard, and I don't know that it's true, but the Vince, I could kind of see it being true that apparently, like, Morrison's push died down a little bit because he felt like he was I don't know, I'm sure that it wasn't the case, but that he was, like, letting Batista bang Melina, apparently, and that's why his push died.
That's what I heard, because he wasn't like, what the fuck? He didn't, like, go stand up for himself, and Vince doesn't like that. That was the story I heard.
Like I said, Vince is very... I'm trying to think of another example. There was another wrestler at one point that essentially kind of push died because they thought they were kind of basically being a bitch and not handling their own shit. Which is weird because, you would think if Morrison just went and, like, throat punched Batista in the locker room or something, that would get him fired. So it's like, what is the guy supposed to do?
Well, and then there is, I don't know if you're thinking of, what's his name? Drew McIntyre, former Drew McIntyre.
Oh, yes, Drew Galloway. Yes,
thank you. Which is funny because now he's working with his ex-wife.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised at that because that kind of killed his push as well. He's one in particular though that I do think deserves another shot because if he picked the wrong girl to date, I guess, because I think he had a pretty big run coming if that didn't happen.
Yeah, and it's too bad. She's a damn good worker too.
Yeah, he is a lot better than people might realize towards the end there with sort of the 3MB and going through tables for midgets. It didn't end too well. And he's young enough though. I don't even know if he's turned 30 yet because he signed with WWE when he was like 19. So
was he really? I did not know he was that young.
He was two of the younger ones it's been a while, but over the last decade or whatever, Rene Dupree was like 19 years old when he debuted. He might have been 20 when he actually debuted on TV, but he signed at like 19. Kenny Dykstra, Ken Dwayne, he was like really young, and I know Drew McIntyre was really young. Now that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. There's not a whole lot of like early 20s guys signing on anymore. It's development's a little bit older than it used to be, but which I don't think is a bad thing. I mean, like I said, it's for a while it seemed like, God, if you're over 30, you're old news and have nothing to contribute, which I think is unfortunate. But one thing that I definitely wanted to ask you about, what do you think? TNA, the rumor or fact, I'm not sure, but it's definitely one I could believe.
Okay, well, they've actually already come out and said that it's complete bullshit, and they're going to go after whoever, it's slander and defamation. Because literally 2 days before, I will just say without, throwing it out there, fuck it. PW Insider was talking about the deal and mentioned that there was an out clause and that if they had a certain amount of ratings, it would be, that could happen. So someone took that information, twisted it into it's happening, although it was never reported, no one's ever said that. But, I mean, it's way too coincidental that became public knowledge that there was this out clause, and then all of a sudden someone saying, it's going to cancel it for the exact same reasons that were just outlined the day before.
So they confirmed 100% that it's bullshit, or... Because, I mean, it would seem like even if it were true, TNA wouldn't want to necessarily admit it this early.
Here, I will actually quote them on this. So full credit is going to PW Insider. TNA statement.
I did think it was telling that they didn't report it, because I saw it on Gerweck, which is fairly reliable, but not, PWI reliable.
Yeah, I don't even, if I don't see that, I don't believe it 99% of the time. Okay. TNA issued, credited to Mike Johnson, TNA issued the following statement this afternoon via email to pwinsider.com in response to stories circulating today that Impact Wrestling was canceled by Destination America. And here's TNA's statement. It has come to our attention that several internet news sources have falsely attributed statements to TNA, its executives, and broadcasting partner. These false statements constitute defamation, and if necessary, we will seek all legal remedies available to us. And then they were told the same statement was issued via email to the TNA roster and staff. So...
Well, see, now my only thing with that, and I'm not a rumor monger type person, but they didn't really go right out and say, no, we are not being canceled. We're, what I'm saying? It's like, you would think.
I think they don't want to give credence to the rumor. Plus, I know that Destination America's been really happy with the show, so.
That's what I heard. That's what it seemed random I know. Although I will say, TNA's is still very shaky. I mean, their shows have been pretty solid lately, but they're still, I don't know, their future is still very much in doubt, which they just can't seem to shake the name value now. I mean, their name has sort of become dirt with a lot of people, and they just can't seem to wiggle out. And I mean, when was the last time you heard a TNA chant break out on? It's been a few years at least.
Yeah. Maybe when Dixie went through the table, I think was probably the one rare one. It might have even been a bully chant. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to remember if they even had any kind of a TNA chant with that. I mean, another funny thing, you did watch Unstoppable, right? Or you know what?
I did. I did.
Oh, okay. No TNA chants for Joe that I heard.
I don't know. There wasn't.
Which I feel like if he had made the jump a couple of years ago, there would have been. I don't know, it's just getting that buzz back, but because things are going to get pretty crowded. I mean, with Lucha Underground, Global Force, TNA, and for that matter, WWE almost creating their own alternative. Because watching Unstoppable the other night, I did not feel like I was watching anything connected to WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but it didn't. It felt like something completely separate. I don't want to go as far as to say it felt like old ECW, but it's close. Yeah, and what do you think of Joe's deal? I don't know if you've read about that.
Oh, no, I did. It's like a TNA deal for him.
Yeah, I was like, wow. But I think it's good. I don't know what to make of that though. That kind of makes me think that maybe a main roster run isn't going to happen anytime soon, if at all.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why it was structured like that. That it was probably structured like that so that he doesn't. I don't know how to word that. It's probably structured like that so he can still do his other stuff, and it's not like. Because I don't see anything enticing about him just signing to come in to work NXT. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now he gets to do that and be, on a bigger stage. Well, I don't know, is it a bigger stage? But he still gets to be worth more money on the indies and, gives NXT that indie credibility I think Triple H so desires, or that alternative. So it looks like a win-win for everyone.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with the touring, too. I mean, I was just watching it, I'm thinking, God, because I was almost thinking, Samoa Joe's 36 years old, and, not that I think that should matter, because I still think he could make a ton of money in WWE, but that's, I believe, actually the oldest. I think that definitely by far makes him the oldest development. Well, I guess we can't even really call him a developmental talent anymore. I mean, NXT is basically a brand now. It's really kind of cool, kind of interesting now that maybe anybody that a few years ago we would have said no, not a chance in hell would get a WWE deal. Now it's like we might see like fucking, who knows, Necro Butcher show up in NXT.
Well, I would hold my breath on that one, but
maybe not that
one. Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm assuming his contract says he can't work global.
But yeah, that's a safe bet.
But yeah, I think it's a smart move for him. I mean, I don't know who's next. I mean, we've had Rhino, we've now Samoa Joe. I think Samoa's the bigger get, but
oh yeah,
I I did pop for a shirt because it said SoCal. So I was like, okay, he's representing.
Yeah, I noticed that. I figured you'd enjoy that. I mean, that's where he started. Like I said, maybe NXT, because Triple H made a couple comments, and I guess they're good or bad depending how you look at it, about some talent maybe not being a fit for the main roster. But God, if NXT keeps putting on shows like this, do you have an issue with it? I don't know that I do.
I don't. In some cases, it's a better thing. I mean, look at how some people have gotten used going over there. I mean, we have a couple examples lately of being used properly. I mean, but look at poor Bo Dallas. I mean,
yep. I'm still thinking that Bo Dallas will end up on top. I mean, he's another one that's pretty young, and I think he'll be able to segue into a more serious role. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I think problem is when Crazy Grandpa starts doing stuff over there, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah,
just because we can get over in the smaller Triple H ran NXT doesn't mean, Vince is just going to see a fat Samoan and be like, he eats fish, there's some paint on him, Umaga too.
It's hard to picture Samoa Joe coming up with, fucking tribal shit on him and, eating fish heads. I think he honestly refused to do it.
I think he would too. I was kind of hoping Taz would come out with some.
I think Taz will possibly show back up in WWE at some point, because some of the side announcers now are not particularly great. Tom Phillips and whatnot. I like Corey Graves. I think
I do too.
He's a little shaky, but I think he's somebody that can improve.
I think he'll eventually make the main roster.
Well, he's young, he's hip. I think, like you said, I mean, that's why Jim Ross isn't doing commentary anymore.
Well, is he?
Well, yes. For them, I should say.
Yeah. I don't know. That'll give that product credibility. It's, as much as Vince thinks he doesn't need Jim Ross. Just watching the New Japan pay-per-view with Jim Ross calling it made it so much better. And real quick, I know for those of you who've actually stuck with us, we're getting our wrap up for our 90 seconds. So we will be back next week, same time, with some news reviews and some other fun stuff.
A lot of reviews, because we got a lot of shit coming. And yes, and thank you for you horror/wrestling fans that stay tuned for our little end show rant.
Yes. So we will probably ran on for a few more minutes, but nothing horror related, so you won't miss anything. We will be back next week, same time, bunch of reviews. All right. Sorry to jump in on you there.
Absolutely. Oh, no, that's okay. I don't know. What do you think of the Global Force roster as of now? I mean, do you think that they can really make it work? I mean, the roster's not bad. I mean, there's some talent there for sure, but I don't know. Is there enough?
It just looks like TNA version 2 to me.
Yeah, that's the problem. Actually, when I first saw that report, skeptical as I was because PWI not picking it up, I was thinking, like, wow, I really hope they're smart enough not to just bring in all the top TNA guys, because that's like the worst start they could possibly get. But then again, you almost have to. There's not a lot of free talent right now, and you kind of do need those big names. I'd be shocked if AJ Styles isn't going to end up being a part of that. I at least as of now, I don't think they've announced him, but I don't know. I don't know that this concept of talent sharing, how that's going to work out for them, and I don't know. I really hope Jarrett's smart enough to stay the hell away from the main event. I will say that.
Well, he's not listed as a wrestler. I thought that was interesting.
No, not as of now, and I think that's smart. I mean, he could work, I suppose, as a more mid-card guy, but I don't know. I just think that temptation of making himself champion would be there, and that's just the worst thing they can do. I think that one, I don't know if you're familiar with Quinn Ajinaka. They had him listed, but apparently he's going to ROH now.
No. I did not notice that or even hear that.
Yeah, they signed him, and I don't know. They just don't seem to have... They really have to find a star, maybe like an Anthony Nese or somebody like that could really... I mean, of course, it wasn't TNA, but somebody that could really, truly be like a homegrown superstar. And with NXT now picking up UA Nation and, really kind of taking away all this top-level indie talent, it's going to be tough. Because now it's like people that you thought you would never go to WWE, so it's not even competition. Now it kind of is. I know there's a lot of fear right now with NXT. The Young Bucks and the Briscoes for a while looked like they were going to sign, and a lot of indies were pretty worried about that.
Yeah. Well, I know. I really would have liked to seen Willie Mack get a shot at the big stage.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see him in Global, too, and I'm actually really bummed because I would have really loved to see Willie versus Joe. And although he's in Lucha Underground now, I always forget that. I'm a few weeks behind.
Yeah.
He is.
I was going to say you're looking forward to that Willie Mack, Ezekiel Jackson feud now.
Yeah. Why did TNA grab Ezekiel Jackson?
Yeah, I was going to say the final ECW champion. He's kind of a weird one for Lucha. I mean, I don't know. I don't quite get it, but I don't know. There's other people they could have picked up for their sort of big henchman role.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I will say this before we wrap here: what's your favorite right now? What wrestling show aside from UEW? I know that's.
I was going to say you're biased.
Yeah, you're biased with that, so we can say. I mean, what's really delivering for you right now above anything else?
Honestly, it's just NXT.
Yeah, I would probably have to say the same. It's sort of become the go-to show, although I do enjoy Lucha Underground. The format's very different, but that's an alternative.
Yes.
Huh?
I said a little telenovela-ish.
Yeah, it's tough to get used to, and I don't know how I feel about, wrestlers competing for a magic medallion. That's a little bit, but like I said, it's different. The action's great. It's not something you'd see in WWE. Well, I don't know. Maybe we could have had a Magic Medallion tournament at some point.
I was going to say, what do you think their end was?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then Kama made it into a big chain.
Yeah, yes, it could happen, but yeah, no. I mean, hey, it's great to have alternatives. It's different, and yeah, I guess last thing though that we got to bring up the Sunny porn, which I think is going to happen because I don't see any way she's turning down six figures. I don't think WWE is going to come knocking at this point.
And the funny thing about that is she released a comment because people said it's a done deal. The way she worded it, this is another one, I did read the wording carefully, and that it was, it's not true. She said, she was like, oh, it's not true. I've not signed a deal with Vivid, but she did say she got an offer. So I think it's just, she's saying no, it's not true because the deal hasn't been finalized.
Hey, yeah, I don't see her turning it down. Did you? It was funny. Sonny got around the locker room back in the day. I've heard some particularly funny stories. Apparently, I don't know when the hell it would have happened. I guess maybe Hall of Fame, but Dolph Ziggler apparently got some hazing backstage because he mentioned something about it on Twitter. I'll admit I'm gonna pick that tape. I mean, I'm gonna pre-order that shit.
You and old school, you should pick up the tape.
Yeah, I was gonna say. We all have fond Sunny memories.
It's always sunny and sunny.
Yes. Yeah, that's not a bad title. What do you think as far as the whole Hall of Fame thing goes? I don't think they can. People were saying, "Oh, well, they have to strip her of it," and I'm like, I don't think they're going to do that. But it is kind of, China can't go in. Although I think there's obviously reasons other than her porn career for her not going in.
I was going to say, there are a lot of X-Pac on TV all the time. You know, Mike Tyson, the convicted rapist. I mean, so they're just not actually putting anyone in like that. So the fact that she's already in, is a little bit
Mike
different.
Tyson already raped somebody beforehand. So
yeah, but this is true. That's what I'm saying. So he's another one. So people always use that argument. He did he go in pre-PG? I'm trying to think.
Oh no, he was. He wasn't that long ago. Was he real? I mean, not that long. Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, it was definitely PG era.
Well, and the thing with him is he's always, he served his time and it's all said and done. It's not like putting it's not like him putting Floyd Mayweather in this year. It's completely different because Tyson, paid for the crimes he did or did not do. He's always maintained his innocence. And honestly, the fact that he always has said, I didn't do this, but I did enough shit I should have got caught for, so I'm just going to take it. The fact,
my whole thing, and I will say this, I'm not like a huge China supporter or anything, but Triple H did bring some of that backlash on himself. He really should have kept his mouth shut.
He should have told Austin, just don't bring up China. Now they know that bitch is crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say, he could have just said, oh, well, maybe it'll happen someday. Because now the funny thing is, you've got that issue of when they do induct DX, which is going to happen, you have that pink elephant in the room, because it just doesn't feel right that you're not including her,
But, I mean, no, you know what? I got to go with, it doesn't matter. It's like when they inducted the Four Horsemen. I mean, you have the whole Benoit thing. So
yeah, that's true.
So I don't think.
But
I mean,
it was kind of the original unit, though.
But I have a feeling they're going to put in the DX Army and Shawn. Is the way it'll be, because I don't think they're going to put Rude in like that. I think they'll save Rude.
Yeah, well, Rick Rude wasn't around long enough. I feel it makes more sense that, you know, his package will include his wrestling run and then mention, you know, his NWO DX.
He was he was the only man to appear on both shows the same night.
Yes, and that is, although I don't know, isn't he one of those ones where there's some talk about, because I know, like, Elizabeth, apparently the holdup is a lot of, I guess her family blames wrestling for her death, and that might be sort of the holdup on her. I don't know if Rude has anything similar.
No, I think they're trying to distance themselves from people who died that way, because, you know, Perfect got in just before.
No, Perfect was
dead. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying just before they kind of had this change in philosophy.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah, I don't know.
Like,
there's talks about Owen possibly going in finally.
Yeah, I know they're finally working on the DVD documentary. Martha's Not Happy. I think that's the one which they're still trying to, you know, the one which they're still trying to, what's the word? Geez, my brain just like stopped. They're still trying to keep the word of not, you know, putting him in without her blessing, which kind of sucks for, you know, her brother and stuff. Because, I mean, you look at the difference, Owen's widow and Eddie Guerrero's widow. One is celebrating as champions, and the other one is just kind of left for the diehards. You know?
Yeah. Well, hell, I see Vicky going in herself someday.
I do. And that works.
Yeah, no, I think she deserves it. I mean, holy crap. I mean, I remember, like, I mean, I'll even admit, like, when they were, like, trying to make her a character, I was thinking, this is, like, horrible. This is going to suck.
I was
just be really awkward.
I remember, and then all of a sudden she just flipped the switch and came to her own, and she was awesome to watch.
No, she was. Like I said, they split her and Ziggler far too soon. I think he would have benefited from being around her a little bit longer. You know, I mean, hell, even Edge. She added a lot to Edge, who really didn't necessarily need her, but she added a lot. I don't know. The Hall of Fame is weird because, like, I heard Brett make a comment that Owen might go in as part of the Hart Foundation, but I was kind of thinking, like, well, how's that any different? I mean, wouldn't that still piss her off? I mean, kind of seems like a way around it that doesn't really change anything.
Well, I think the only way around it they could do it and not get heat is if they put the entire Hart family in.
Yeah, which would make sense. I mean, it's certainly something I don't think people would argue over, but at the same time, it's like you kind of want to see that Owen Hart package,
I agree.
you know, King of Hearts, all of the solo stuff he did.
I don't see them putting the Hart Foundation in now. One, you got two dead wrestlers in there. You have the Anvil, who's a fucking mess. So that leaves... Oh, wait, sorry, three dead wrestlers. Fuck. So that leaves Brett and fucking crazy-ass Anvil, because Owen's gone, Bulldog's gone, Pillman's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I did. I don't know if you actually watch Total Divas, but they had that episode where Anvil was carted off, actually. Spivey came and picked him up for rehab.
Speaking of Total Divas, here's a little footnote. I know you're a huge Eva Marie fan. But she's been training. She's been training at I know. She's been training at Joey Chaos's school, Santina Brothers, under Brian Kendrick.
Yeah, Kendrick, I know a lot of people are saying is apparently going to, I think the quote was, make us respect Eva Marie. So he's got his work. The thing is that really sucks about her, though, I know Vince has a hard-on for her, and if she even becomes passable, she's going to be Divas champion. Which really sucks ass because look at what Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks did last night. That is one of the best matches I've seen this year, last couple years. And I hope they can get to a point where they'll say, we can find good-looking women that can actually work. We don't need to fuck around with these models.
Think that'll ever happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, I'm really looking forward to a point where maybe the Bella twins, who have improved, but maybe will go away and we'll have a roster of, Paige and Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch, and just there's a hell of a female roster that they could have. I mean, they could really revolutionize Divas Wrestling, because if you count NXT, the roster is probably more talent at one time than there's ever been.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And that's sort of the problem with women's wrestling in WWE. I mean, it's always like you have a few great ones, but they can't just keep wrestling themselves over and over. They end up having to work with a Maurice or a Maria. It just can't really work, and you can't. You can only do so much. So, but wow, that was a hell of a match. It's unstoppable. That was just an eye opener for a lot of people, I think. But we'll see if Vince actually listens. It's hard to see a lot of the talent. I mean, right now, if Enzo Amore and Big Cass went to the main roster, I think they would just be lost in the shuffle. As good as their gimmick is, I just don't think they'd really do anything. And maybe NXT exclusives aren't such a bad thing. If they're touring, some of these guys can make good money there. And but I will say, who do you see getting actually called up full time? Do you think Owens now might be a sort of NXT but main roster at the same time now that he's working with Cena?
I don't know. Maybe I just have a bad feeling it's gonna be like a one and done.
Really, I think that would really suck if Zayn looked good losing to Cena. Neville, I think, still looked good because they made it look like he had the match won. I don't know right now if Cena just beats Owens, if that does a whole lot for Owens. I actually really hope they shock us and he takes the title from him. If it's a title match, I don't know. I haven't heard if it's officially a U.S. title match yet.
Yeah, that is a very good point.
Because he kind of turned that down, and the announcers the last couple of times have they haven't directly said, like, this is a U.S. title match. I think Owens taking the U.S. title and maybe Cena obviously eventually gets it back on an NXT show could be really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They could be going for that. You never know.
I don't know. It just feels. I'm trying to think like who should take the title from Cena, and a newer guy makes sense. I don't think it would mean much of anything if Barrett or somebody like that just takes it from him. It kind of makes sense that it would be a newer guy. But I don't know. At the same time, it feels like Cena should hold on to it for a long time because this is the first time in a while that Cena's been used properly.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But well, anyways, we're deep into overtime, so I guess we can bow out here. We will definitely have a review of the Sunny porn tape when it comes our way, and all I can say is I really want to see Victoria do one, a.k.a. Tara. I don't think it'll happen, but that's my wish list. I don't know if you have a former talent sex tape porn list that you want to see. I'd like to see Victoria do one.
Well, I've seen Lizzie Borden already, so...
yes, we've seen a lot of her.
Honestly, I mean, Sunny was always my favorite. I'm sure there's... I mean, because you said former.
Well, yeah, it's safe to say if it happens while you're in WWE, that's going to be it.
Yeah, I know yours is Sunny. You already got that wish.
Yes. Well, I guess we kind of really didn't get Nicole Bass. I guess that would be at the top of everyone's list. I mean, we kind of...
Yeah.
Didn't she... Well, she did do... But she didn't do porn.
No, she was just like beating up a fucking Crotus.
Christy,
man. Poor Crotus. Poor Crotus.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I can't see too many. Well, I think it's safe to say we'll never get the Molly Holly one. That one I think we can pretty much rule out. I don't know, maybe Jacqueline will do one. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, none of the other ones have been on Skype trying to sell their wares yet, so I wouldn't hold your breath yet.
No. Well, I guess we'll bow out here and join us next week. Same time, same channel.
Oh, yes, and I'll find us some outro music. We will be back. What he said. We'll see you. Good night.
Night.
It's here.
Hello?
Have you checked the children?
They're all pots, all of them.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
I'm afraid.
Don't be afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Gingy.
Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. Gentlemen, I am pain.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Have you checked the children?
Have you checked the children?
With AT&T, take your U.S. plan to Mexico at no extra charge. When you choose an eligible plan, place calls, send text, and enjoy your plan data in Mexico like in the U.S. It's that easy. AT&T, mobilizing your world. Subject to plan rates, terms, international fees, overage charges, or data speeds. Restrictions apply. See store for plan details.